This week on the Weekly Pinch from Pinch News.
Putin claims landslide victory after stage-managed election. Judge in hush money case denies Trump's bid to block Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels from testifying. Jackson State women's basketball punched their ticket to the 2024 NCAA tournament. Trump-backed Bernie Moreno wins Ohio Senate primary.
Grambling beats Montana State in overtime, set to face Purdue.
Trump in panic mode as bond deadline looms. Morgan State University achieves record high for single-year patents awarded, topping all HBCUs nationwide.
Coach,
yes, ma'am.
you all killed it last night.
Vice President Harris calls Grambling State after historic win.
Dad arrested after he called school 19 times to complain about his son's homework.
Trump to return to stock market with upcoming media merger. Lincoln University president gets reinstated.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to return to the Kremlin for a fifth term, tightening his grip on the country he has ruled since the turn of the millennium. In a stage-manged election, Putin faced three rubber-stamped Kremlin-approved opponents. Russia's Central Election Commission, CEC, said that half the ballots were counted so far, and Putin was in the lead with 87.3% of the votes. The results mean that Putin will rule at least until 2030, making him the longest-serving president since Joseph Stalin. With most opposition candidates either dead, jailed, exiled, or barred from running, and with dissent outlawed since the invasion of Ukraine, Putin faced no credible challenge to his rule. Russians had 3 days to vote, and people in Russian-occupied areas of Ukraine had even longer in an attempt to persuade residents to take part. Supporters of dead Putin critic Alexei Navalny did stage symbolic protests. Speaking from the election headquarters, Putin said the election had consolidated national unity, and that there were many tasks ahead for Russia as it continues its confrontation with the West. No matter how hard anyone tries to frighten us, whoever tries to suppress us, our will, our consciousness, no one has ever managed to have done such a thing in history, and it won't happen now, and it won't happen in the future. Never, he said. A New York judge has denied Donald Trump's bid to block his former lawyer Michael Cohen and adult film star Stormy Daniels from testifying in the criminal trial related to the 2016 hush money payment against the former president. State Judge Juan Merchan said that Cohen and Daniels could take the stand but placed some restrictions. He said that Daniels cannot testify about a lie detector test she took in 2018, indicating she had been truthful about her comments about Trump. In a court filing last month, Trump's attorneys argued neither Cohen nor Daniels should be allowed to testify because they're liars. Trump's attorneys had more success with another filing. Judge Merchan said that the infamous Access Hollywood video, in which Trump bragged about grabbing women sexually without asking permission, will not be shown to jurors. He added that the Manhattan prosecutors could still question witnesses about the 2005 tape, as he found the tape relevant to the critical issues in the case, including the prosecution's contention that it helps establish Trump's intent and motive for making and concealing a hush money arrangement. However, siding with Trump's lawyers, he said playing it could be unduly prejudicial. Jackson State University women's basketball clinched the SWAC championship title after claiming victory over Alcorn State with a finishing score of 68-44. The JSU Lady Tigers, led by four-time SWAC Coach of the Year Tamika Reed, has claimed the SWAC championship title 3 out of the last 4 seasons and 4 regular season titles. Reed, a Jackson, Mississippi native, is set to lead the Lady Tigers in the 2024 NCAA tournament for the third time during her tenure at JSU, 2021, 2022, 2024. For the first time in program history, the JSU women's basketball team also received a vote in the Associated Press Women's Basketball Top 25 poll. The Lady Tigers also made history in the 2022 WNBA draft when center Amisha Williams-Holiday became the first HBCU player to be drafted in almost over 20 years as the 25th overall selection. Number 14 seed JSU are set to play number 3 seed UConn in the opening round of the NCAA tournament in the Portland 3 region. It's possible for JSU to upset the Huskies. In 2022, JSU almost upset the Kim Mulkey-led LSU Tigers in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Jackson State and UConn are scheduled to play in the first round of the tournament Saturday, March 23rd at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on ABC. Bernie Moreno will win the Republican Ohio Senate primary, which is also a victory for Donald Trump, who backed the Cleveland-based businessman in a three-way contest. The contentious and expensive primary had become a divisive proxy race between Trump loyalists and the state's more traditional conservatives. Trump endorsed Moreno in December and headlined a rally for him last weekend. Moreno leaned heavily into his backing from Trump, with the former president omnipresent in his campaign's advertising. MAGA alert. President Trump wants you to vote for outsider businessman Bernie Moreno, said one of the campaign's final ads. The former car dealer and blockchain entrepreneur will face three-time Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown, who was unopposed in the Democratic primary in the fall. Brown is the only Democrat to win a statewide election in Ohio since 2006. In Northwest Ohio, State Representative Derek Marin prevailed over former State Representative Craig Riedel a day after Trump endorsed him. Marin will face longtime U.S. Representative Marcy Kaptur in November's general election. Both Brown and Kaptur are considered among the year's most vulnerable Democrats, with Democrats holding a narrow voting majority in the Senate and Republicans maintaining a thin margin in the House. Both races have already drawn outsized attention from national party leaders.
In their first ever NCAA tournament appearance, Grambling State staged an impressive comeback to secure an 88-81 overtime victory against Montana State in Wednesday's first four showdown. Despite trailing by 14 points in the second half, the Tigers rallied behind a stellar performance from sophomore guard Jamel Kofer, who contributed a team-high 19 points off the bench. Jordan Smith and Antoine Burnett also made significant contributions with 18 points each. Now, Grambling State looks ahead to a challenging matchup against Purdue, the number 1 seed in the Midwest region, in the round of 64 on Friday night. Although facing the formidable Zach Edey-led Boilermakers presents a tough challenge, the Tigers aim to capitalize on the momentum from their unexpected victory and potentially pull off another upset. With Purdue's history of facing upsets, Grambling State remains hopeful for a strong showing in the upcoming matchup.
Former President Donald Trump is in panic mode as the deadline for the nearly $500 million bond to appeal his civil fraud case in New York approaches, according to a Trump ally and two campaign sources. In a filing Monday, Trump's attorneys said securing a bond by next week's deadline was a practical impossibility, despite approaching about 30 surety companies through 4 separate brokers. Chubb underwrote the $91.6 million bond to cover the E. Jean Carroll judgment, and Trump had been counting on them to come through again. The insurance giant informed his attorneys in the last several days that that option was off the table. Trump's team has now turned to wealthy supporters to post the bond on the former president's behalf, and are also evaluating what assets could be sold quickly. New York State Judge Arthur Engoron's ruling in Trump's civil fraud trial was made official on February 23, starting the clock on a 30-day automatic stay of the judgment. That period is set to expire on March 25, after which New York Attorney General Letitia James could start seizing Trump's bank accounts or properties unless an appeals court steps in. Sources have said that Trump is very concerned about the optics of a billionaire developer facing a financial crisis and missing the deadline would present. Trump has continued to privately lash out at New York Attorney General Letitia James and Judge Arthur Engoron over the matter, these sources added. Morgan State University set a new record this year by obtaining the highest number of patents in a calendar year. The university's innovation in 2023 skyrocketed, allowing Morgan State to secure 13 patents. The university's number of patents is impressive, considering that identifying a patentable product or service is often a multi-year process. The Office of Technology Transfer at Morgan State oversees and assists with intellectual property resulting from research discoveries and other scholarly and creative activities. Once the university determines the viability of a patent, Morgan State partners with an outside IP firm to prepare and file the patent application with the USPTO. The university's Office of Technology Transfer Director, Wayne Swan, stated that the high number of patents in a single year is a testament to the innovative spirit at Morgan. Morgan State credits the university's technology programs for its record number of patents. The school began pursuing technology patents in 2016 and has accumulated 32 U.S. utility patents. The university's first patent was a crystallization method to treat Alzheimer's disease. The patents bolster the university's effort to become nationally recognized as a top research university. The Vice President of Research and Economic Development, Willie May, Ph.D., explained that Morgan will continue prioritizing research and wants to contribute to technological advancements and improve society.
Let me just tell you something. Is the team there?
Yes, they here.
Can they hear me?
They can hear you.
I have to tell you, I watched the entire game into overtime. You were just pure excellence on that court.
After clinching their historic first-ever victory in the NCAA tournament, Grambling State University received an unexpected call from United States Vice President Kamala Harris. A proud graduate of Howard University, Vice President Harris reached out to congratulate Grambling State's head coach, Dante Jackson, following the team's exhilarating 88-81 triumph on Wednesday night. "I watched the entire game into overtime. You all were just pure excellence on that court," Harris said. "Going into overtime, my husband and I were on the edge of our seats. Amongst your so talented team, you got that lefty." VP Kamala Harris also went on to praise the team for how it handled itself with the media as well. Harris has consistently demonstrated her support for HBCU sports teams in the past. She has been a prominent presence at Howard University, notably attending the men's basketball team's inaugural NCAA tournament appearance last year and showing her support when the football team competed in the Celebration Bowl. Jackson said getting the call is something that will stick with him. "It was incredible just to talk to her for a couple of minutes," Jackson told Andy Katz at Thursday's practice ahead of going up against number 1 Purdue. "Just proud. Probably one of the best moments of my life."
An Ohio dad was arrested and taken to jail after incessantly calling an elementary school to complain about his child's homework. The dad, Adam Sizemore, called the school 18 or 19 times in less than an hour. According to the police report, Sizemore called Kramer Elementary School because his son gets homework, which takes away from the time he has with him after school. The dad was trying to reach the school's principal. Instead, Sizemore conversed with secretaries and other school staff, cursing them and calling them names. Sizemore was arrested outside his home. He was charged with 2 counts of telecommunications harassment, a first-degree misdemeanor, and 1 count of menacing, a 4th-degree misdemeanor. If found guilty, Adam Sizemore could face fines up to $1,250 and up to 6 months in jail. Sizemore stated, "I'm a single dad of a boy and a girl, and I'm just trying to do the best I can, and that's all I can do. People make mistakes."
Former President Donald Trump is making a return to the stock market as shareholders of Digital World Acquisition Corp., a publicly traded shell company, have approved a merger deal with his media business. The merger will result in Trump Media and Technology Group, the owner of the social networking site Truth Social, trading on the NASDAQ stock market. Trump stands to potentially benefit significantly from the deal, with his ownership stake of 79 million shares estimated to be worth over $3 billion. However, a lockup provision will prevent him from immediately cashing out the windfall. This move comes during a significant legal battle for Trump, who is facing a $454 million judgment in a fraud lawsuit. Trump's previous 1995 venture into the stock market with Trump Hotels and Casino Resorts ended in bankruptcy by 2004, raising concerns among investors about the risks associated with his latest endeavor. Digital World's regulatory filings have highlighted various risks for investors, including Trump's control as a majority shareholder and the challenges facing Truth Social in a competitive social media landscape. After the approval was announced and disclosed on Thursday, Digital World's closing stock price fell 6%. Despite these challenges, Truth Social, launched in February 2022, has garnered attention as a platform for Trump's message, although its user numbers remain lower compared to major social media platforms like TikTok and Facebook. Software development and data aggregation company, SimilarWeb, estimated Truth Social had roughly 5 million active mobile and web users in February. The president of Lincoln University of Missouri, John Mosley, has been reinstated to his position following a third-party investigation into allegations of bullying made by the late Antoinette Bonnie Candia Bailey, a university alum and vice president of student affairs. Candia Bailey accused Mosley of bullying, harassment, and discrimination before her tragic death by suicide. The university's board of curators announced plans to engage a third-party expert to review potential personnel issues and ensure compliance with established policies. Mosley volunteered to be placed on administrative leave while the investigation was opened. However, the investigation found no substantiated claims of bullying by Mosley. While some students and alumni called for Mosley's resignation and additional investigations, the Board of Curators affirmed their commitment to prioritizing the mental health of university employees and treating everyone with dignity and respect. Despite the investigation's findings, some former students are advocating for further inquiries to address concerns about workplace culture and support for Black females at the university. That wraps up all of the news from the Weekly Pinch. Tune in next week for more. In the meantime, visit us online at www.pinchnews.com.